Hello and welcome back to part 5 of our potty training webinar series with Dr. Amanda Thompson. This is P Training Part 2, the short version. Thanks for joining us, Amanda.
Thank you. So in one of the very first recordings, we talked about two versions, the long version and the short version of P Training. Earlier, there's a previous recording where we talked about the long version. The short version, you have to kind of throw out a few things that we talked about in readiness. So in the long version, we talked about not having a potty, like a sit-down toilet, a little itty bitty one for the little kids. And we also talked about the reward system. So that's the same. The biggest difference is that we are going to be sitting on the toilet for a lot longer. So the child needs to be able to sit down occupied for 30 minutes. That's very difficult. So again, working with your occupational therapist or your behavioral therapist to help occupy you with tasks and skills. The trick is if it's an older child and the little potty is not available for you for size purposes, or you just don't want to go that route, you have to do everything in the bathroom. So you actually do need a second person. That would be helpful. And it's about 3 to 5 days, sometimes 7 days. But it's a very quick, but it's a very, very, very tough, mostly on whoever's training. The kid can get really frustrated, and it can be, you have to prepare a lot more because you have to prepare a lot of different things that they might need to be ready to sit down and occupied for 30 minutes. But you can't use those same things. Like if you wanted them to sit on the potty with the iPad, you can't use that as your reward. The same concept goes for reward system, immediate gratification. And so you want them to have immediate response. So the yays, the nice, excited, and then reward, whether it's a sticker or food or whatever, but you have to have it all in the bathroom. Also, you're going to be in the bathroom for 30 minutes, which is going to be taxing. Again, all the food needs to happen, food prepping for other children. Maybe the other children need to be sent to school. You need to take off work. Your spouse needs to take off work. You need to involve other parties for you. They can do this at school, but it's going to be very, very, very difficult. This is going to be more ideal for older children or younger children, sorry. So let's say I have my data. You can still do the data sheet because it's kind of all tail into the same, as well as the bowel training. So they get up in the morning, they go sit on the potty for 30 minutes. Then they get a 5-minute break, and then they get back on the toilet for 30 minutes. And then they get a 5-minute break, and they have to sit on the toilet again for 30 minutes. And so basically 98% of your day is sitting on the potty. So all your food has to happen there, all your fluids have to happen there, all of your day has to happen either in the bathroom, or if you use the little potty, you can use it in the living room so that you can still be kind of active, but you can't have a whole lot of distractions. Another party has to be maybe meal prepping or whatever. Another good thing I forgot to mention is if you want to be significantly impacting their fluid. You want to be offering fluids, irritating fluids. All those fluids I said do not give them, give them. You want them to have the urge to pee all the time. Foods. You want more salty foods. That's going to dehydrate them. Again, that's going to want to make them pee. So if I'm trying to teach someone how to do a cartwheel, I'm not going to expect them to know how to do a cartwheel if they do it once a day or twice a day. I'm going to need them to do it over and over and over and over and over to do a cartwheel. It's a complicated task. You go back to childhood development. A baby doesn't learn to crawl overnight. They take lots of practice before they start mastering that skill. And so the more opportunity that you give them in a short amount of time, then the more successful they're going to be. So how do you move on? They have to have 3 to 4 consecutive pee or elimination in the toilet before you move on. So you have, so we have 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Then you bump it to 20 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 20 minutes on, 10 minutes off. Then you can do 15 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 15 minutes on, 10 minutes off. There are a lot of, so you could actually like Google this. There are tons of different short version ways to do it. And so I think it works best for whatever you want to do and how nervous you are about accidents. So again, you're going to bowel train and pee train at the same time because you can't really do one without the other, and they're spending 90% of their day on the toilet. So let's say they pee, or let's say they wake up and you know they need to pee. You're pumping them for fluids and they don't pee at that first one. Instead of giving them a 5-minute break, you give them a 2-minute break and they go back on the toilet. At some point, they're going to pee. If they don't and they don't pee all day long, eventually they're going to get it. So the next day you restart. You're going to have to put a pull-up on them at night and they're going to probably pee all over the toilet. The bed's going to be soaked. It's going to be a whole mess. So you have to prepare for that. But the key is that instant gratification right after they're successful, because if they don't get that instant gratification, they're not going to realize that that's an issue. Let's say they don't pee. I'm in the middle of my 2-minute break and I need to pee. So I run to the bathroom. I walk back in on their 2-minute break and they're starting to pee, or they're starting to look like they're going to pee. Pick them up, put them right on the toilet, and as long as they finish the pee, that's still a successful pee. And so they still get rewarded, and eventually they're going to figure it out. And so 3 to 4 consecutive pees in a row at that interval, 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off. And then let's say we got 3, then we're going to do 20 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 20 minutes on. You could even do 25 minutes on. It's just hard and it's exhausting for both parties. Nobody wants to sit there on the toilet for that long. You have to have all of your things that might keep them occupied for that long, which is going to be probably the most difficult thing to do. So if your child's not even like terrified of the toilet and they're not even wanting to sit on the toilet, we need to backtrack a little bit from there. So summary for the short version: increase fluids, increase anything that's going to dehydrate them, honestly. Lots of occupying things in the toilet, and then instant gratification for a reward system. And then that process should take 3 to 5 days, 7 days at most. And so it depends on a lot of factors on how you want to go about your route of pee training and poo training. So if anybody has any questions, I'm open and available for any questions. We're going to do a Q&A, live Q&A. So hope y'all join us for that. And then we will hopefully meet up sometime soon. Thank you for joining us.